Hi, I'm Blaine C. Van, and can you just give us your name?
So, Coach Anderson or Mikey Anderson.
Okay. And so, what is your job here?
So, I teach CTE or Business Essentials, and I coach football and baseball as well.
Okay, so you around a lot of young men.
Try to.
Okay, then. And so, this is the happy husband, and we talk about marriage here. He knows that I love marriage. It's trying, man, working with another soul. The other night, it was yesterday, my wife just got irritated for, like, no reason at all.
Yeah.
Like, for no reason. And I'm like, what is going on here, man? Then she woke me up in the middle of the night, and so I'm driving to work. I'm going, what is up with these people? And I said, you know what? They just irritated out of the blue. Now, they don't think so, but it could be such a small thing, and how we respond to them when they get irritated.
Yeah.
I think that's where we need to, like men, maybe need to work on or be conscious of.
Absolutely.
Even that. That they don't need no good reason to snap at you.
Absolutely. And I learned that. I feel like I learned that early on in marriage. It's not necessarily what you're saying, because you maybe think you may just common conversation, but she sees it in a way of, so they got a little bit of a tone to it and everything. Especially being a coach, you got a coaching tone sometimes.
That's right.
You get home with dealing with it as a teacher and as a coach, and it's like you may be irritated and everything, but she just wants to talk, and you're still irritated by some of the kids.
That's right. Right.
You may have that little tone in the back of your voice that you don't mean to, but may get under her a little bit.
Well, I think early on too, my wife talked to me about my tone too, and so I guess today we're talking about the tone of your voice. Right there, that your wife is home or working, and when she see you, she don't expect that coaching tone or that teaching tone. And especially, really, coach, a lot of men are in command positions at work, right? If you're a foreman or you're a supervisor, yes. And then you kind of bring that bearing, and sometimes from your truck to the house, you don't get a chance to empty that out, right?
Absolutely. And I feel like one thing we learn with each other very on too is, I teach high school, she teaches elementary school, so we have a different way of talking with our students.
That's right.
Obviously, being high school teachers, we can talk more one-on-one and more to our whole group, whereas she's talking to them like you got to walk them through everything, and sometimes we got to walk the high schoolers through everything.
Right.
But it's a different mindset of how you're talking to them.
Yeah, on a side note, me and my wife looking at our career, and we said, well, I'm going to my next career is to teach at a college.
Okay.
But my wife's next career, she can't teach at a college because she never taught adults because of the tone.
Yeah.
Right? And so and also, I learned too that not only is the tone, but we call it in my old church in Texas, changing hats.
Okay.
And so in marriage, I found out, and this for all you young guys out there, matter of fact, ladies too, that you in your work environment, right? But when you get home, there's another hat you should put on.
Yes.
So you shouldn't keep your elementary teacher hat on, and you shouldn't keep your coach hat on when you enter to your house environment. Yeah. And I guess the maturity, helps you with that. You would think.
Yeah, I would say so. Being an athlete most of my entire life, and then playing sports in college, it was 24/7. But I feel like I've always been better at once that sport's over with. So like when I go home at night or I leave here, I don't take anything from this place home.
That's right.
So if we have a bad game on a Friday night and I'm just steamed at how we played, or maybe a kid got a little bit of attitude today at school, I don't take that home.
Yeah.
So
how do you do that though? I mean, I believe you should do it.
Yep. So
but how do you do it?
So we live about 15 minutes. I live about 15 minutes away from East Wake, and those car rides home and to work are big.
There you go.
So it's just you just sit there and think about it. Like I give myself those 15 minutes. Okay, you can think about it. Sometimes maybe I'll call my dad. We'll talk about it. I'll call Coach Kearney. He's a great mentor as well, and we'll talk out football, talk out stuff, and I'm good. I mean, when you get home, you can't do anything about it at the end of the day anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, it's done with, and like I always try to say, like when you may have problems financially, you may have problems here and there, but like Olivia said this morning, God's got a plan.
That's right.
So I've always tried to stick with that. Like no matter what happens during the day, it's part of something bigger.
Mm-hmm. Now you
So-
mentioned something I don't even realize, but you mentioned your father,
Mm-hmm.
and you mentioned Coach Kearney,
Yep.
which are two male figures
Yep.
in your life. So you mentioned your father and Mr. Coach Kearney as a mentor, and so how important is as a husband to have male mentorship in your life?
I think it's huge. I think it's huge, especially like when I was growing up. My real mom was kind of away. She was gone when I was little. I had a stepmom and everything, and we never really had the greatest of relationships. Older we've gotten better.
Sure.
But my grandmother was always that motherly figure.
Okay.
But I always saw my dad as that person that just worked hard. Like he showed me how to treat people, how to go about your work, how to just put your head down and work, even if it's not the greatest of work.
Yeah.
But just go work at it and let things take care of themselves.
Sure.
Like don't bring an attitude to things, because then complaining is not gonna do anything.
Exactly. It does nothing but stir you up.
Absolutely.
And make the work worse.
Absolutely.
Because then you got to do it over again.
Because I feel like I'm one of the most laid back people. Because like
Are you really?
that's one of my things my wife will ask me all the time. She's like, it doesn't seem like you ever really get anxious about anything. It's like sometimes I'll get anxious about something.
sure.
Something will get on you a little bit, but it's like I feel like there's more than just this world.
That's right. It is.
I mean, this
So-
this is only the pre-act.
So that brings us to how important is your faith in regards to marriage?
So faith is huge in our marriage. So when I was growing up, we would attend church here and there. It wasn't like a full on 100% like it needed to be 100% faith thing. But my earliest story of faith, I would say I was probably 6 years old, and my grandmother has this very old Bible in her den area, and for some reason I fell in love with this book. And like obviously I couldn't read it as a 6-year-old because you can't truly grasp what it's saying. But I fell in love with this old book because it has like all of our family members when they were born.
Sure.
And this goes back to like the 1800s.
Sure.
So
Wow.
So I fell in love with that, and she would tell me stories and stuff, and that's kind of how my faith started building. And high school here and there, we would go to church, not like we should have, obviously. But then I got to college, and I was actually a couple of me and my teammates on the baseball team, we actually founded the FCA at the college. They didn't do an FCA.
Wow.
So we started an FCA. We met on Monday nights. And then when I met my wife in college, first time I met her family, we were going to the Christmas cantata at her church. She was singing. So I'd gone home to Virginia. Of course, she's from down here. And I was like, I want to come back and hear you sing. And I came back, and it's a funny story because I joke around with my father-in-law all the time about it because he ushers, and now I help usher in the church as well. But he sat me down. He said, I'll be right back in a minute. I'm like, he talked to me for like 5 minutes. He's like, all right, sit down here. And he just left for a little bit. I'm like, this man don't like me at all. But I was sitting there and just sitting in this beautiful church, and you feel that overwhelming feeling of stuff. And ever since then, I've gone to that church, and we got married in that church. I was baptized again in that church. I was baptized at a young age. I got rebaptized again in 2019.
Yeah.
December of 2019, and it was one of those things. I wanted to be baptized before we got married, so we got engaged on Christmas in 2019, and I wanted to be baptized.
Now, how
before we
come?
got married. That was a big part. So she got me this book. And of course, we did marriage counseling. But she got me this book, Prayers with Couples, or Prayers for Your Wife, Prayers for Your Husband.
Okay.
And we would read that book, and it prepares your hearts faithfully for marriage. And that book really stuck with me and still sticks to me. And it sits right there on my nightstand, right above my headboard.
And the name is called Prayer for Couples?
Prayer for Couples, I believe is the name of it.
Okay, do you know who wrote it?
I do not. I'm going to have to find out.
Okay.
I'll get that to you.
Because I think Stormy wrote it, but
Okay.
I'm not sure. Okay, so everybody who's listening now, he's talked about mentorship, and we also had a book too, right? Because marriage is complicated, man.
Absolutely.
I had a book too. I had a book too for my marriage too.
Absolutely.
Man, I had to read some of this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was important, and so you wanted to get baptized before your marriage.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So it was one of those things. I feel like there's so much that goes into marriage, so much hard work, and so many things that you're unprepared for.
Mm-hmm.
Just faith is one of those things that no matter what you go through, it's going to prepare you.
Sure.
I mean, at the end of the day, you go through problems, you have trials and those tribulations. Marriage is hard work. It is hard work.
Yeah.
But it's the reward of it. Because, you're sacrificing. You're not really sacrificing, that's the wrong word, but you're committing your life to this person
Mm-hmm.
and hoping they're gonna take care of you. Like, because I mean, it was always a big, because I never really like, I joke with her all the time because she asked me all the time. She's like, "Well, tell me about your old girlfriends." It's like, I didn't really have any, because like in high school, like I focused on sports and everything, and I didn't really seek out
Sure.
girlfriends and everything. And I guess it was one of those things where when I gave my heart to somebody, like I was gonna do it. Like,
That's awesome.
so when I met her, I knew right away, like she was the one.
Sure.
Especially how her family was and their faith really was empowering to me.
Mm-hmm.
How they handle it, how they go about it. Like, we do things together all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's one of those things like this. We actually, like you talk about your wife getting a little irritated sometimes. My wife got a little irritated last night, and it's like, what is wrong? I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. But I'm going back home this week to see my dad and everything, and grandma, and she can't go because she's got some schoolwork. She's in grad school right now, and she was just upset because she was gonna miss me. And it's like you sit there and think sometimes, like, man, why is she getting mad at me? But it's like you truly break it down, like this woman really cares about you.
She
so
does.
much.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's upset that you're going for just a day or two.
Yeah.
So that was one of those things. So.
Well, that's one of the things that I do, and when you're dealing with your wife, which is another soul, is another person,
Yes.
right? That sometimes they get mad because they love you so much,
Yes.
and but you got to think about that, and so you don't really respond right back to the irritation because it's gonna get you in trouble,
Yes.
right? You just have to go, and I believe what you did is you learned that that okay, why? I ain't really do anything, and you just have to think about it and break it down, and then and if you don't snap back, the Holy Spirit would kind of like saying, "This is what she's going through.
Yes.
This is what she's saying."
Yes.
Like that. And
Now,
so,
obviously, sometimes we're not perfect, especially as a guy. You maybe have a little bit of a rough day and everything. It's like, well, don't come at me like that. It's like,
exactly.
That's like, no, don't say that. But then you say it, it's like, oh, too late now.
it's too late now.
Too late now.
Yeah. My wife came to me last night in the bathroom in the shower. She actually opened up the shower door. I'm like, what the? Like 3 more minutes, you could talk. So anyway, she better today. It just irritation, and so today, I was just praying, and I know we got to wrap this up, but I was praying today, thinking about my wife, and realized that these irritations, these things that come on your partner, male, female, it's just a passing thing, right? It's not the whole marriage. It's not even a percentage of it. It's just a moment.
Yes.
And don't let that moment disrupt up the whole kit and caboodle, right? It's just a moment. It's just a wave. That's all it is. So you just, listen, fellas, just bear the wave. Bear the wave. And then, like I believe you said, you call your dad, you call another man in your life, you just kind of talk about it, you think about it, you pray about it, and then you just move on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I think that's great talking to you today,
Absolutely.
Coach.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, man, that's great. And hopefully we can have many more different conversations.
Absolutely.
Now, anybody out there, if you have any questions for him, just write me. You got my email, blainecvan@gmail.com, and I can get it to him, and he can answer back. But today we did talk about, you and your wife, when you rub each other the wrong way, the correct measures to do so you still have life in your marriage. We talked today about having male mentorship. That's very important. And if you don't, there's books out there.
There are books.
Right. You seek and you shall find books out there that can help you navigate your marriage so that you have a long-lasting marriage.
Absolutely.
In the name of Jesus. All right, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.